You're listening to Zoom the TBT with Charge and Hayner.
This is Zoom the TB of Charge and Hayner doing our Xavier regional preview. Xavier,
See, that's why you just call it the Cincy region.
I know, right? Every else named after a city. They named after a school here, which must really make the Bearcat faithful extremely happy. We were talking before we started taping real quick that have I ever seen Charge clean shaven? He's like, of course you have. And that preview shows numerous wonderful shots of your face with no facial hair. First of all, does your wife like the beard?
Yeah.
No kidding.
Yeah.
I guess it covers more of your face. That makes sense.
Yeah, no, I mean that's the whole thing is, the more you cover up, the less appalling I look on that particular day. So yeah, that's what I'm going for.
I fucking love it. Yeah, it's funny. I'm not allowed to grow facial hair because, as my girlfriend says, it itches. It hurts my face because I have Brillo pads for what little facial hair I'm allowed to have. And I always tell her, if let me grow out a beard, it'd be soft. I grew out a beard once, actually. And I looked like somebody who gave little children candy. It was not a good thing. It was a very, very bad
creeper look.
I looked like an albino R. Kelly. It was really, really, really awful. On that note, let's stop talking about sex crimes and let's talk about the Xavier regional preview. So first of all, this bracket is insanity. And of all the regions, I will not be attending. And I think you're going there for a day or two. I wish I were there. This is my favorite bracket of the whole thing. I really wish I were there. Charge, which game that you're going to hopefully be attending are you most looking forward to?
Yeah, well, that's just the thing. Unfortunately, I can't get there Monday. Monday is always the busy work day, so then the day off. So Wednesday, I'll be seeing the second round games in Cincinnati. So obviously, if everything holds the way it's going to hold, you get that sideline cancer zip 'em up game.
That's tasty.
Yeah, that's amazing.
That's tasty.
Then I don't think you can go wrong with whoever plays Florida TNT. Excuse me, TNT.
Or about billions.
Or Fort Wayne. Champ, no, they got no shot. But Nasty Natty or Fort Wayne Champs always comes prepared. So I think I'm going to see two amazing games when we hit Wednesday night up there in Xavier.
Yeah, so you'll be Wednesday in Xavier. I'll be watching the regional final of Rutgers. So we'll catch base that night and talk about it after. It'll be pretty good. On that note, let's get right into the matchups. Let's start with one of the just absolute favorites of the tournament and quite possibly the best team in TBT, Florida TNT versus About Billions, Adrian Broner's brand. Let's start with the Bullies, the 1 seed, 5-2 previous years, and they made the semifinals last year. And this roster is extremely loaded, though a little less loaded than they were just this morning.
Yeah, no, obviously the big news from Florida TNT today is no Antonio Blakeney. So the other update on this particular slide, not as impactful, but Matt Williams won't be playing with them and Tristan Spurlock. But, they went deep with this team last year without Antonio Blakeney. Matt Williams and Spurlock were great role players for the team, but when you start adding guys like Rob Gray, Scotty James, once again, great guys that understand their roles, that can play at a high level, I still think this team is better than they were last year, even without Blakeney.
And they were good last year.
Yeah. So that's going to be something to watch as this develops. So even that second round game is not a gimme, but we fully expect Florida TNT to make a great run here. Dominique Jones, Keith Clanton have been dominating TBT for years now and expect more big things from their big two.
I don't know how you can't bet on a team that has Clanton in the middle with all that physicality and bulk surrounded by Gray, Boynton, Warren, Dominique Jones. I mean, it's just too much skill around a behemoth in this sort of level. Because if you can run a 4 out with one bruiser in this sort of tournament and the other 4 guys can't shots, you're going to beat a lot of teams in this event. So we'll see. So what's interesting is the About Billions. So first of all, Adrian Broner's from Cincinnati. He's never been an underdog his entire life. The kid's name is The Problem. I mean, the man is one of the finest pound-for-pound boxers in the world. So being a underdog's got to be a new sensation to one of his teams. What kind of chance these guys have, though? I mean, like, there is some real talent on this team. Andre Yates is putting up 19 recently, a couple of years ago in Portugal. There's some real talent, but like, is it going to be enough?
Yeah, I don't think so. I really wish we would have had TMT and About Billiams head to head. Obviously, TMT had to go over to Dayton. The only thing that could really help them out is that there is a lot of Cincinnati flavor here. So with Broner being from Cincinnati, and you got some guys who are associated with Cincinnati, if they can get a good crowd and get that local crowd a little bit behind those guys, some of the casual basketball fans may not kind of know some of those names and recognize them and get behind them, but they obviously know Broner, and so if they really hype this up as a Cincy-based team and get some support, they can feed off of that energy. But I think overall this is going to be a tough matchup and a nice warm-up game for Florida TNT to get to serious business.
I will say one fun thing, because we look at these stats pages. Again, the rosters are always in flux, so yada, yada. We always try to get them right. But I noticed one thing, just looking at this briefly. Mitchell Smith's a 6'11" power forward who's only 24, who played in Finland and shot 38% on almost 4 hoists a game as a stretch 5. One way to make some problems would be to get Clanton away from the rim or force switches. That might be a way to make some things happen. I'm not saying it's possible, but if you're looking for somebody watching this game, Smith shooting from long as a 5 against a Clanton who wants to stay in the paint might be a toe hold, a finger hold to give about Billions some chance in this game. But yeah, I don't see this being that way, but we'll see what happens. Now, this is the game that frankly confuses me, and I'll tell you why. I still don't know why they didn't just push Natty down to a 6 and just get it over with. All we want to see in this region, is Cincy play Xavier. And they're not only out in the first round, they're on opposite sides of the damn bracket. Like, the odds of them facing off in the final, I think, are fairly low. Not that they're not good teams. There's just too much other quality to get through. I wanted to bump Cincy down to a 6, and get this game out of the way early. Get the zip them up Natty game here. But what are you seeing with this Natty squad, Charge?
Yeah,
I hate them. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I think the Natty squad is way better than I think probably TBT expected it to be. I think when this all first started and the application period started, Kevin Johnson, the GM of this team, started getting a team together. We know the Bearcat Jam from the past, and they showed up and played tough in Columbus a few years back. And I don't think people realize that all these guys were going to show up, because you could drop a lot of names and people who are going to play and want to play, but these guys are actually going to show up. They have a crosstown friendly scrimmage going on tomorrow night, so we'll see how friendly that is. But I think it's just really cool that Xavier and Cincinnati are putting on that event tomorrow for the fans to have a little bit of fun and just get a little bit of a workout leading into the TBT. But this is a legit nasty natty squad. Guys like Trey Scott was in the NBA as early as last year. I mean, got a lot of guys who played for the G League and have NBA experience on this team. So this is just a really solid, nasty, natty team. I wish, like I said, we would have gotten that second round matchup, but then you would have had to bump someone, whether it's zip them up or sideline or someone all the way down to a 4 to force that other matchup. But, we'll see, because you never know how this is going to play out. But I think they, likely win this game. But Florida TNT should still be okay, but they'll push those guys as well.
Well, I will say this about this matchup. One is, everybody who follows our podcast knows that we have very discreet, like, the idea of people not being fans of their teams publicly is ridiculous. Like, you're a Charge guy, I'm a Memphis guy. And one of the teams all Memphis guys hate is Cincinnati. They've been a conference mate of ours for a lot of our existence. They're one of my top 3 hated teams at the college level. In fact, I'll say it now. We're doing it. We did it last year to this year. There is a bounty on the Natty. If you beat the Natty, hit me up. You're going to get a bottle of bubbly or something. Something will be delivered to your room. You're getting drinks on me that night, because if you knock these guys off, you tell me where to send the booze. It is happening. There will be a bounty on these guys. I want them out as soon as possible. I want them embarrassed. I want them losing by 30. I want them to eat it, because they've made Memphis eat it so many times. In fact, the drunkest I've ever been in my entire life is after the Cincinnati team in 2001 with Steve Logan, who I believe is attached to this team in a coaching capacity, hit a layup to force Memphis out of a tournament berth. And we were up at the Shoe Arena, and they basically beat Memphis and forced overtime on a coast step. And I would still remember how bad the gin tastes in my mouth. And I'll say on a less personal note, Jaron Cumberland is an absolute gunner. He's so good. So, like, don't let those stats of only getting 9.5 confuse you. The man's a bucket. The man's tough. The man doesn't take no for an answer. So this is a very tough team. But then you have Fort Wayne champs. They're not a first-year team. They've been here multiple times. They've got 16 games under their belt. And they were the last team in, of which Charge got a nice little Puma gift card off of. And they have a very nice squad, actually. So I actually think they're going to walk out with the Natties win. But talk a little bit about what you like on this team. I know Tyler Persons is a great way to start this conversation.
Yeah, no, he's amazing. And yeah, Steve Logan's actually with about billion. So like I said, they have
Got the wrong one.
Quite a yeah. You wouldn't expect them to be with about billions with the whole Cincinnati thing going on there. But but this team here, like I said, Fort Wayne champs, they have come prepared to the TBT every single year. So, they're not going to be the most recognizable names, but you look at that record, they're 10-6 all time, which is just ridiculous. And you mentioned Taylor Persons. He went toe to toe with Marcus Keene last year in what was a phenomenal game. So he was one of the top scorers in that regional last year, and he kind of does a little bit of everything. You can see from the stats, even overseas this past year, just really facilitating, grabbing rebounds, and, just a really good shooter as well. So he's the guy to watch there. But, these guys, just really play as a team. So I think a lot of people, grab the best players they can find. Garrett's looking for guys that, he knows he can trust, that's going to show up, that are going to play together, play the right way. And that's exactly what you're going to get here. So Nasty Natty's looking pretty loaded, but you can't sleep on Fort Wayne because they've proven people wrong every single year in the TBT and always go a little bit deeper than most people think they're going to.
You can't sleep on Fort Wayne is the doggy. The doggy is actually asking to be petted right now. That's why I'm getting distracted from our podcast. That's Pickwick, the official dog of ZoomTheTBT. Yeah, I think Fort Wayne's going to win this game. I think the experience matters. First four alumni teams have a lot of problems, and I can't bring on my heart to root for Cincy, so I want Fort Wayne to win. I think Fort Wayne's going to win. I look forward to delivering them a bottle of bubbly after their win. This matchup's incredible. Zip 'em Up versus Sweet Home Alabama. And we actually have a taped appearance of a guest. So we had Jason Meyer, the GM of Zip 'em Up. So, Charge, should we run this tape?
Let's run the tape. Can't wait to hear it.
Let's do it. This is Jason Meyer visiting us from Zip 'em Up. We'd like to welcome our guest tonight to the Cincinnati Xavier Regional Preview. And we have Jason Meyer, GM, as he's doing the motion, actually, of Zip 'em Up. Jason, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing great, Hainer. Always a pleasure to talk to you. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing great. This is actually our second interview. We had to cancel one of the other interviews for whatever reason we won't get into, so that sucks. But it's good to see you for the official first time this season, right on the eve of the Xavier, not quite the eve, a couple days before the Xavier Regional. First of all, let's get right into it. How excited are you guys to be hosting your first regional TBT?
It's an honor, Hainer. I mean, we came in last year, and it's like you put together a TBT team, and it's honestly a pipe dream until the pieces start falling into place. I mean, even making it to TBT last year was an honor. And to go from that to the fan turnout that we had to be hosting at Cintas in our home arena in front of our home fans, you can't beat that. I mean, I could not have drawn up a better scenario 2 years ago when we first started this thing with Rick Carter and D. Davis.
Yeah, I mean, it's an incredible scenario to have Xavier. I know Cincinnati is a wonderful basketball city. Two of the top programs in the nation, and Xavier and Cincinnati are both based there. I wish I was getting out there. Dates don't work for me. This is the one region I really am missing, and it hurts me physically. And part of the reason it hurts me, and you quite honestly can't be happy about this, is the region is absurdly loaded.
It's loaded, and it's me. I have a fan perspective. So I saw it, and I texted Coach. I was like, Coach, we're getting screwed. He's like, F it, we'll beat him anyway. But as me as a fan, it's like, dude, we have Sideline and TNT. I think TNT is one of the best teams in the whole tournament. And how can you argue with Sideline adding Mike Dom to the roster they already had? They're already a championship contender. Then you add, in my opinion, the best player in TBT. I think Mike Dom is as valuable as anyone in TBT.
He's at least top five. I don't know about best. I mean, but the problem is two of the top five both play for the same teams. Obviously, Keene is also up there too.
Yeah.
So they rewarded you with a region and then said, hey, let's just take two of the top three teams in the entire event and just shove them in your region. So first of all, did you consider being the first regional host to change region?
we were hosting a regional. We applied to Rucker or something like that. I don't think Pavorsk would have been too happy with me and applied to Rucker. But you know what? You got to beat the best to be the best. That's this tournament. You know what I mean? You're going to have to beat good teams to get there. As we saw last year, that Buffalo team's a monster, and you're going to face tough teams, and we're prepared for that. So you're going to have to beat good teams anyway. Might as well make it early.
Iron sharpens iron. So obviously your first matchup you'll have against Sweet Home Alabama, a collection of Alabama ballers. We'll get to that in just a minute, talk about them specifically.
Yep.
But again, like everybody, and I won't lie to you, including me, really has this as sort of like a collision course between TNT and sideline. How are you going to muck that plan up?
Home court advantage, Tanner. I mean, you cannot underestimate that Cintas Center. And last year, I wish you could have been with us in Columbus.
I was. I saw you guys there. I was there.
You were there. That's right. My bad. There was so many faces. I was in a whirlwind. 2,500 people, whatever.
It was nuts. It was nuts.
We were crazy last year. So you amplify that. Plus, we've had a whole year of marketing and the roster that we bring this year. I'm really, really excited. We have all kinds of events going on. So I'm really excited for what that environment's going to look like. And I don't know if sideline, obviously there's all respect to those guys, but
sure,
I don't know if they've seen that environment in TBT yet. This college basketball, I don't know. You've seen the gyms they've played in. It's going to be a crazy environment. I promise you that. That's
it's interesting you say that. It's interesting you say that because one of the other elite teams, the hybrid of Heartfire and Team 23, did sidelines dirty work for them last year. So what happened is eventually they were going to have to face West Virginia or Best Virginia. But Team 23 made the whole thing very easy by knocking out the entire state of West Virginia before sideline got there. So they've played in some pretty elite gyms, but they have not played against the elite gyms' home tenants. So this will be a different experience. And that's assuming, again, like we don't want to just can't look too far ahead because Alabama, diabetes, both. You don't get in TBT having crappy players. So like you hands up the whole time, defend yourself because that first round matchup could be a bear. Let's get into your roster, though. So we're talking about the fact that last year's your first year. You were 1-1. We were in Columbus. You guys had a great opening round. And obviously, if McCurry doesn't really turn his ankle, you've got probably a second round win, possibly two. You got a really good squad. So obviously, you're bringing back a lot of talent. So first of all, I see a lot of EuroLeague experience. I see a lot of top division players. I see a lot of switchable wings. And I see a lot of shooting. So, like, how do you guys think you're going to be playing? Like, the shooting in a whole, and plus a home court environment really helps shooting. So, like, how do you have this much shooting on one team? How much of an advantage does it offer you at home?
I think it's a huge advantage, Hainer, especially when you add some of the other pieces we've added. So we added like D. Davis, who was our GM last year, but can play. Was a legit 4-year player. Xavier had a great senior year, top 10 all-time in assists, a true point guard. And we have a lot of like downhill guards and a lot of scoring guards, Samaje Kristen, Mark Lyons, who can get in the paint like crazy, but are scorers. But you pair those with, especially when you added Nate Johnson, you added Riley LaChance. Those are multiple high 38 and higher three-point field goal percentages around, guards that can go downhill and create. So you think of a Mark Lyons, a Samaje, a D. Davis at point, a Nate Johnson death lineup, Nate Johnson, JP McCura, Trey at the small ball 4, and then maybe a Karam Cantor at the 5. That's 4 shooters surrounding guys that can already score in a high-level environment. Added a lot of defense. I think Nate Johnson is a huge addition that no one's talking about. Just played at Xavier last year. All-time three-point field goal percentage, was the number 1 shooter in the country 2 years ago. Elite D and 3-and-D player. So I think this gives us a lot of spacing, and then we added a lot more on the interior. I think after Sean O'Mara, we lost a lot of depth last year at the big. I think we added a lot when we add, Davis. We add, Karam Cantor. We add, Matt Stainbrook, the Uber driver. So I think we have a lot more size and a lot more depth to bang down low to go with that shooting.
Yeah, I mean, I'll always the caveat as we do these shows is the rosters we put up on these pages are constantly in flux. There's been like 8 defections today, so we can't keep up. So you mentioned a couple names. I'm like, where's our stats? We don't have them on the board because just the rosters are constantly in flux. We're trying to catch up. But look at even the guys that have on this page, like you've got a lot of shooting, a lot of depth, and this is a team of guys who are all in the prime of their careers. We got one guy's at 35, but most of them are in their mid-20s to late 20s to early 30s. They're all in the prime of their careers. They all played professionally last year. Not a single guy didn't play last year. They're all professional players. No kind of alums working their way back into shape. No Sacramento. No sort of happy picks. Everybody can play on this roster. So first of all, how is training camp looking? I know you guys are getting started in a couple days. How has camp looked?
Sure, camp looks good. Day 1, getting them fresh, getting them acquainted with each other, kind of going over some schemes and stuff. Yesterday we got them going pretty quick pace. We got a lot more 3-on-3 going, a lot more just game speed type stuff. And you're right, they're pros. A lot of them just got done playing. So they're all in prime shape. They're all ready to go. You can tell, I mean, they're at game speed. I mean, they're coming in there. They're already getting after it, making game moves type stuff. They look really good. We actually have an exhibition with Nasty Natty tomorrow. Tomorrow night,
you have a friendly exhibition.
Yes. It's a friendly, like in soccer. It's a friendly, like Mexico and U.S. It's a friendly.
What are the odds there's a fist fight and exhibition in the stands? 100%, 150%? I mean, you and I, like, name your least favorite team in college basketball.
it's without. So if you're doing a tier list, it's Cincinnati. It's a huge pile of dog crap, and then it's probably Duke, the Duke Blue Devils. So it's Cincinnati by a yard, by a country mile.
It's one of the things we always talk about, because you and I both have a shared interest in hating the Cincinnati Bearcats as a Memphis fan, as a Xavier alum. So the deal is what I would ask you is, what is the bounty you want from me if you're the ones to knock Cincy off? Because last year I put a bounty on Tennessee. This year I'm putting a bounty on Cincy. The Natty gets a bounty this year. So I think they'll get knocked off before you guys. But what's the bounty ask for you guys? Some booze? What am I delivering to you guys if you beat them in the regional final?
Oh, man, it's one of those blank check scenarios. You know what I mean? That's a blank check.
I'm an architect. I'm not an investor banker. Don't say blank check. I'm getting a couple bottles of booze. I hear blank check. I'm thinking private jets and shit. Look, I'm an architect. I'm not a fucking Chase investment banker. Get it
you
right,
name it. Whatever your drink of choice is,
we'll get you. We'll get you. We'll ship it out. I don't think you'll get the chance though, because I think Natty goes down in the first round. I think I'm paying out the Fort Wayne. Okay. Anyway,
wow, I like that.
Your opponents, obviously, have you started scouting Sweet Home Alabama? Looks like a pretty quality squad, actually. A little small.
Yeah, but it's a good-looking team, though. I think they're a good matchup for us. I know that's coach's job more than my job. I'm more of like the operations type stuff. But he said he likes their roster. I'm not going to talk any game plan stuff, but we do like where we stand on the interior, I think. And then I think we're going to continue to play our game. I think that's what we're going to do this entire tournament, no matter who we're playing. Obviously, you make adjustments, but we're going to be us. I think that's when we're at our best, is when we're moving quick, we're getting the ball out in space, we're taking good open transition threes with Nate Johnson, with Trayvon Blewett, with JP McCura, when we're going downhill with Mark Lyons, dump offs, easy passes, that kind of stuff. So we're going to continue to play our game, and I think that's the best thing that we can do. And honestly, when we're playing at the top of our game, there aren't many teams that are going to be able to guard that.
I think what's interesting about this matchup too is this is like a dream matchup for the first round for you guys, because they're not a bad team. They're a very good team, but they're a beatable team, which means like they're going to work you. Like this will not be an easy game, but you're a fairly heavy favorite. Even if you're having trouble, the home crowd will probably push you over top, even if you're having trouble. So it'd be a good way to get your feet wet, get sweat on, and then hopefully you guys win a matchup with, a very difficult sideline team. So, and the day of rest will really help. Honestly, your guys are a little younger. Sideline's a little more veteran. Would you like to see the schedule rearranged where there's no rest day? I think the rest day really benefits your opponents a lot more than it benefits you. Lost you there for a minute.
To be honest,
yeah,
go ahead.
No, I'm just saying the rest day I think benefits your opponents a lot more than you if you win.
Oh, I totally agree. I mean, those guys are TBT staples. You know what I mean? Like they're a complete TBT staples. So, and we've won one game. You know what I mean? So as much as we want to have this like holier than thou, like we're a TBT host or whatever, like we've won one game. Sidelines probably won 20. You know what I mean? So they are as staples as it comes to be. And then when you had Mike Dahm, I don't know how they're not a one seed. I really don't. Like I don't know how that team is not a one seed.
There isn't. This was we've been doing bracketology the whole time. Seeding sideline and TNT was a complete disaster. We just looked at them as co-number ones, and we even said we're like the only reason that matters is because the 3 seed, you guys, is so strong. So the question is not so much who's the better team; it's who do they want to screw and give you guys the second round, because you were getting screwed either way. In fact, we were talking about the only reason that I thought they might give you the 1 and make those poor bastards be 2-3. I thought that might be what happened, just to protect the bank, if you would. I mean,
to give us the hometown bump.
Yeah, I was surprised that they actually made you guys play. I mean, the problem is when you have 3 good teams, someone's getting screwed. So, and the seed line being that flat in the region made it a complete nightmare. But again, like you said, you got to beat the best to be the best, and iron sharpens iron. So I'm not too worried about you guys. You'll be fine. Real quick though, obviously, we'll let you go. I know you're driving. I'll only take up some of your time. Last question for you. Obviously, people are coming out. This is our regional preview. Why does the Cintas? I mean, they're going to be packed anyway, but why do the fans who haven't bought their tickets yet need to get them before there's no left? Like, sell the tickets. Like, why do these guys need to show up?
You absolutely have to. I mean, it's basketball in July. It doesn't really need to sell. So we used to have this thing called Devereaux in the city, where it would be like Cincinnati guys, Xavier guys from college were allowed to play before crazy NIL stuff. And it would shut down the city basketball-wise. And this is like that on steroids and Mountain Dew. You know what I mean? Like, this is as good as it gets. And it's one of those things where in this city, we always talk about this kind of stuff all year round. Is like, who would be the better team in an alumni game? Like, we could have David West versus Kenyon Martin. We could have Trayvon versus Jamal.
That's a matchup. That's a matchup. We get to see it in real time, man. So just to have all these guys back together and to be able to have something to get up for in July. And if you weren't there last year,
you missed it. I mean, it was an absolute ball. I mean, we had JP McCure doing gator chomps to the crowd. Like, you get JP with the fan base going, he turns into an absolute psychopath. And I absolutely love it. It is must-see TV. And you mix Cincinnati into that, oh, it turns it up times 10. So there's gonna be so much, and then you talk about JP and Mike Dom being teammates. Like, there's so many storylines involving us. So, and we have an entertaining team, obviously. So it's must-see television if you're a Xavier fan. Absolutely must-see.
There you go. And not just must-see television, must-see in person. Television is
In
great.
person. Way better in person.
Can't be beat. On that note, I'm going to let you go. Jason Meyer, GM and head honcho of Zip 'em Up. Thank you much for coming by. This has been ZoomTheTBT's preview. Always a pleasure, Jason. See you soon.
Always. See you soon.
Dan, that was a really good interview. Jason is always so much fun to have on. I love having him on. So he mentioned a lot about the power of the Cinta Center and having such a great home crowd. Zip 'em Up has a really tough road. We'll talk about the team right in front of them in just a second. But how much can that home crowd take a good team and make them great?
Yeah, no, I think that's one of these ones where, we talked a lot about the aftershocks. We've talked about New Mexico. Zip 'em Up traveled really, really well last year in their games away from Cincinnati. It wasn't a long drive, but still it was away from home. So I'm expecting this thing to be absolutely electric. I think it's going to be loaded, with fans. And the thing that they're doing is they're really out in the community, drawing up some interest in this team. They're doing fundraisers at bowling alleys. Dana Gardens. I guess you can walk from the bar right over to the Cinta Center and taking some games. So they're really pulling in some good community partners that are going to generate even more excitement for this team. We mentioned it last year. I think at one point, I don't know if the whole TBT ended that way. They were leading the TBT in gear sales. So these are fans that are just really hardcore, live, breathe, everything, Zip 'em Up. And this fan base is definitely going to give a little bit of the extra boost. I mean, it's true alumni team. I didn't count the numbers, but aside from New Mexico State, Xavier, you just see all the way down the row, true alumni team. So it's going to be a lot of fun. And
love
the
to
fans
see it. Love to see it.
I can't wait to experience this. Like I said, it's going to be the semifinals. See no reason why I'm not going to see Zip 'em Up at sideline on Wednesday night.
Yeah, and that would be an incredible game. Not much to know about Sweet Home Alabama. Probably a decent team. It's their first trip. It's their first rodeo. A lot of these guys have less experience. This is probably going to be a tune-up game. Let's be honest, right? I mean, they're not bad. They're a quality team, but do they stand much of a chance on hostile ground against all the shooting that Zip 'em Up comes to bring?
Absolutely not. It's one of those ones. Obviously, they made a good case. Got TBT to buy into what they were selling, and it's just overall there's just not a lot here from a TBT experience. You can see some of the guys haven't played any professional leagues recently, and so tough battle. I don't know how these guys kind of fight out of this one. It's going to be a Zip 'em Up big time route, and not really familiar with many guys on the squad, I guess, to put it shortly.
Having said that, again, since we're discounting them, what that means they're probably going to walk out with the win and make us look like complete blithering idiots. Because if you take someone lightly, that's how you lose in TBT. We got one more matchup to talk about before we close our preview. We got the number 2, the We Believe boys of Sideline Cancer. I Can, one of these storied, wonderful programs event against the newbies on the block, diabetes. Cancer versus diabetes, cause versus cause, sickness versus sickness. Let's start with Sideline Cancer. And they've been on the show multiple times. They're friends of the program. One of the finest causes to fight for. Great program. And they've always had a great team. And they went ahead and took a great team and just added some unknown stretch forward. Just some guy no one knows about. It's Dame, Dom, Mike, Dad, Dom?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, so I think that was probably one of the bigger stories of the offseason was where Dom was going to play. And I think everybody who was following the TBT thought they may be playing for Zip 'em Up, but right there at the end.
And people know how close that was.
That was really close, I hear. So that should be an interesting round too. I'm sure they're all still friends and it's working out. But he was a teammate of JP McCure last year, so I thought that was going to lock him into Xavier. But sometimes other things are more important than friendship, I suppose. So here he is on sideline cancer, and sideline cancer is back in. We say this every year. They get better every year, which is really hard to do when you go as deep in the tournament as they have over and over and over again. So obviously you got Marcus Keene, who's kind of the centerpiece of this, but it doesn't stop there. I mean, they picked up a couple guys from the old Iowa United days, and Deontay Garrett and Nick McGlynn, who are phenomenal players that are going to play great roles for them. Mo Creek and Remy Abel have been with the team forever, as long as Eric Thomas or Thompson, CJ Miles. You got great NBA talent there. So this team is deeper than they've ever been, and I don't think there's going to be much that can stop them this year. That TNT game, I felt a little better about TNT when they had Blakeney, but I'm kind of a little bit on the fence now. So we'll have to see how it plays out. But everyone is showing up down there for training camp or not training camp. I guess they're preparing for the games. So they should be a good run, full speed ahead. So look for them to go deep again once again this year.
Yeah, I will say what's interesting about this team. One thing is, if Mo Creek can escape a war in Ukraine, he can definitely escape a guy covering him for a bucket. Two, this team is uber talented, uber deep, well coached, lots of new blood. This team's old. This team is one of the best teams. I have them as regional champs. I have them going right up to the Heartfire's edge, but they're old. This team is old. This team isn't veteran. This team is actually old by TBT standards. So does that mean that they can't play? No, that means that they're just seasoned. But this is one of those teams, they better be deep, because the Canes might be, they might have walkers at the end of this. Having said this, this might be one of the last deep runs a team like this can make due to age, but I'm not betting against them. They're that good. So even if they're old, they're damn good. And I can see them walking out of this region pretty easily, at least at the TNT. I will say that that potential zip them up sideline matchup. I mean, I am so jealous you're watching that, and I'm not. That's
going to be an amazing game.
If they get there.
Yeah, I mean, they're both going to get there. Let's not pretend on that. Easy round one games for both. So that's a game the fans deserve, and the fans.
We're just cursing the whole thing. We're just absolutely just giving jinxes right and left. Okay, the P5Bs, a really nice roster. Jalen Nesbitt, a really good player. Played at a high level in Spain. You've got some really, really nice players here. But having said that, a new team, wonderful cause, obviously. Once upon a time, Sideline Cancer was the new team fighting for a cause. So maybe this is sort of the learning experience Sideline had to go through. Maybe Sideline can pay it forward and give the new team their lumps and show what a cause team can do. But there's some nice parts of this roster. I mean, Nesbitt's pretty solid. Pritzel put up 16 a game in the Danish league. I mean, look at some pretty nice players here, but the depth of program might be too much for these guys, right?
Yeah. And like I said, they do have some nice pieces, some real successful overseas careers there. You see a lot of double digit points, and they did have someone drafted in our fantasy league. So shout out to Ty. He's a Wisconsin homer, so he picked up Pretzel there, and got him on the fantasy squad. But the interesting thing here is obviously Gary Forbes, a solid veteran, so hopefully he can give some veteran leadership and get some of these guys, because these guys are on the younger side. You'll see a lot of mid-20s compared to a lot of TBT guys. Their careers are probably in their second stage. They're not over, but you're seeing more late 20s, early 30s in the TBT. So he should be able to hopefully provide some leadership. But the interesting box score here is on Cameron Forte. He actually played for the DuBois Dream against Kimchi Express.
Whoa!
Yeah, believe it. So that's the Kimchi win.
That's a deep cut.
Yeah, and he put up 39 points and 23 rebounds for the DuBois Dream.
I can't even count that high.
Kimchi. I know. I was shocked that when I was trying to do the math, the box score was a little jacked up on the TBT website, but so I actually had to do the math myself, and I barely got to 39. But we got there. So, he's a guy that, puts up big numbers. You see 18.5 points, 10.7 rebounds. So this is a guy who's going to, fight hard, has success in the TBT, and put up probably get another double-double for you.
Yeah, definitely. I think this would be and plus they're younger. If they can get the speed up, they'll be okay, obviously. Okay, so let's get to the picks real quick. That's where we're at. So we really pretty much agreed on this. There's a slight delay, so we'll wait for the picks to actually come on the page. But we've got we're pretty much in lockstep till the final. Honestly, we really see the same picks all the way through until the final. And I think it's going to be TNT sideline. I think that game. I think two of the best teams in this entire event are playing in a regional final. Not like two of the best teams in the region. Like I would say, sideline and TNT. Yeah, I think they're both they would both be 1 seeds in any region they applied to, including in New Mexico. I think they'd both be over Heartfire, and I picked Heartfire over the whole thing. I think these might be the two best teams in the entire event.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's going to be a great final. It's going to be a final if it plays out that way. And if it doesn't, whoever got to force it not being that way, obviously has something to say about it. But yeah, TNT, Fort Wayne, Zip, sideline as the winners of the first round. You pick TNT, I pick sideline. So
yeah, that's a good one. I'm nervous about the Fort Wayne pick now. That nasty Natty team's all showing up. It's going to be a tough game, and obviously, have a great rapport with Garrett. I'm just getting nervous on that one. So
easy money.
I got to lock in my picks later tonight or tomorrow morning, so we'll see where I finalize on those. But
easy money. Make sure you send me that. Make sure you send me that PDA.
Yeah, no, I'll do it tomorrow in the morning. So we'll publish those full disclosure, so you can heckle us and tell us how awful our picks are.
Fair enough. Okay, anything else you want to say about this wonderful region that I wish I was at and you will be at?
Yeah, no, I mean, obviously, well, heck, you're going to Rucker and Syracuse. So,
tomorrow.
If you can be in multiple places at one time, that'd be fantastic. But, I'm just excited. Work's been crazy this year, but able to carve out a little bit of time to go check out that second round matchup. So, stay tuned. It's going to be a fun one.
Makes sense. Okay, so this has been the regional preview for Xavier. Zoom the TBT. Charge Hayner signing off.
Hope you enjoyed listening to Zoom the TBT with Charge and Hayner. Subscribe to YouTube, follow on Twitter, and give us your money.